dumb looking asshole, Rex Heuermann. I mean, I cannot get over this was him in court today. Look at
Yeah.
that haircut. Our dad would be freaking dying right now looking at this.
He looks like that picture. You see that cat every once in a while on the internet that his markings have this weird, like, well,
Oh,
micro
yes.
bangs, right? And
Looks like
there's
his
a,
mom cut his hair.
yes, and it says his mom cuts his hair. That is exactly what
Yeah.
Heuermann looks like.
Yeah. This, like, what is, I guess
I
if
mean,
you're a psychopath serial killer, this is the kind of haircut you choose. I don't know.
well, when you have
Is
to
it a
tell
wig?
the jail barber how to cut your hair, they're like,
What are you telling?
are you sure?
I don't know. Maybe it could be a wig because he's shaved underneath. But
Oh.
if it were, why would you choose that?
Listen, Rex has made a lot of bad decisions, so this is the least
I
of what he's
don't think
done.
it is a wig because I've seen it longer before too.
Mm-hmm.
And so I do
Yeah.
think this is a haircut.
Yeah, agree.
It's just terrible. Right. It is a little Lord Farquaad. I also said it was
Oh,
a little
yeah.
bit berries and cream.
Yes, mm-hmm.
Yeah. Right. I don't know if he could get a wig in jail. I'm pretty sure it is his hair because when he was arrested, it was longer. But
Mm.
this, I don't know. Maybe they just have a real. There is gray in there. If you zoom in, there is gray.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. Shave your head, bro. Definitely,
Mm-hmm.
definitely.
Well,
But
he's headed to prison. That is happening. So, congratulations,
he
Rex.
is.
Yep.
He's going to prison forever. So that's the good news. Let me talk.
Yeah.
Let me tell you a little bit about what happened today. So he did plead guilty today. He pleaded guilty to the 7 murders that he was charged with, and then also Karen Verata, which is someone he was a murder he was not charged with, but that they were in the process of investigating him on. And so he did acknowledge that he did in fact kill her too. Now let me tell you about what the sentencing, um, what's been requested by the DA's office. His sentencing is on June 17th. I can't imagine it's going to vary much from this.
Yeah.
He was given 3 consecutive life sentences without parole for 3 first-degree murder convictions. That's Melissa Barthelemy, Megan Waterman, and Amberlynn Costello. They were first degree because they were within a time period of 18 months. And that is a New York law that if you commit murders that are within 18 months of each other, if there are
Mm-hmm.
3 or more, that's automatically first degree murder. They don't even have to prove like intent and other stuff. It's just
Mm-hmm.
automatic. Um, so then those are consecutive, so they're stacked. So obviously no parole eligibility. Then he was given 4 25. Well, he will likely be given 4 25 years to life sentences for Maureen Brainerd. These are for second degree murder counts.
Mm-hmm.
Maureen Brainerd Barnes, Jessica Taylor, Sandra Castilla, and Valerie Mack. These are consecutive to the life terms. So, I mean, basically at this point, he's looking at about 200 years in prison, which that should be enough.
That
That should
tracks.
be enough.
Yes.
Yeah. A couple of other things that are a part of the plea agreement. He waived most appeal rights. This is pretty similar to what Brian Koberger did.
Yeah.
So he gives up the right to challenge his conviction, his sentence, and many future procedural claims. It is not
Mm-hmm.
completely, it's not across the board at 100%. It is most appeal options, but
Mm-hmm.
they can't actually take all appeal options away from you because that would be unconstitutional. But
Yeah.
he's unlikely to get any kind of appeal at this point. And then, and I find this fascinating, and I sure hope we get to know about this. He has to agree, it's part of his plea deal, to cooperate with the FBI's BAU investigators. So the Behavioral Analysis Unit, That includes answering questions about victim selection, explaining his methods, discussing disposal patterns, helping determine whether there are additional victims. Yeah. And this is really important because it will help over time to resolve any killings that have not yet been connected to him. And it just also helps the FBI
Yeah.
learn more
Yes.
about these psychos and what to do with them,
Mhm.
what to do, how to predict them better,
Mhm.
how to stop them sooner, those kinds of things.
Yeah.
There are
That
charges
to me
pending
is
in another county.
huge.
Yeah, this is only Summit County, Sutton County. So that's the thing to know. There's already he's already been indicted by a grand jury on a charge in another county,
Mhm.
as well as there are investigations going on in other states too.
Mhm.
The DA was pretty tight-lipped about all of that. He said, "I won't talk about anything I can't prove."
Mhm.
I actually really liked the DA in this case, and he handled the press and the press conference really, really well. But this is obviously he's not done. The only other thing is that they agreed that they will not prosecute him for Karen Barada. So he said yes, that he did in fact he allocated to her death, even
Yeah.
though he was not charged with her death, and they will not charge him in
Yeah.
the future, but only for that one charge. He can still be charged for all kinds of other things.
Oh yeah.
At this point, I think they're more interested in identifying victims and getting closure for families, but we'll see.
Mhm.
Everybody's got every county or state, they will have their own decisions to make.
Mhm.
By the end of the month, his DNA will be in all of the many databases
Mhm.
that store offender DNA, and we may see other victims. I mean, we really agreed on the live on the Trials channel earlier today that we really think that this is probably not anywhere near.
No.
And I don't know. I gotta say, I'll be surprised if his total comes in under 20,
Mhm. I also
considering.
am really curious once that DNA is released in CODIS and we really start seeing some other things roll in, probably over the next decade or two, right? To
Mhm.
see some of his crimes out of state.
Yeah, I think we're gonna see that.
Mhm. Because he had properties in other parts of the country. He spent quite a bit of time in Las Vegas. Yeah, you can't tell me there's not more in other places.
There definitely are, yes. And I agree, Content Angel. One reason that this case has had as much attention as it's had for as long as it has is due to Mary Gilbert, Shannon Gilbert's mother, and Shannon Gilbert's death has not been attributed to
Yeah.
Rex Heuermann. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think he has gout or something. He's got something wrong with one of his feet that he's had some
Mhm.
problems walking. His attorneys have just alluded to medical problems. He's 62.
Mhm.
He's pretty heavy.
Mhm.
He's a gigantic man.
Oh, he's
God, he's such a
enormous. Yeah.
fucking giant. He's scary. Right,
Oh,
right.
when you see
CODIS will be
pictures of him,
binging.
yes, binging. When you see him standing with the guards and police around him, he is a whole head taller than all of them or
Oh
more.
yeah, he's
He's
huge.
enormous. Yeah.
Yep. Um, right, the one that involved the doctor, Shannon Gilbert. I know. Yeah, the Shannon Gilbert case still absolutely haunts me. What the hell happened there?
Yeah.
I don't know. But they're still working on it. They're still working on all of those cases and trying to identify all of the bodies that were found um, out there on Gilgo Beach and on,
Mhm.
just in Long Island in general. Yeah, they did. Yeah, they had him handcuffed.
Yeah.
But look at that weird little creepy smirk on his face in this
Yeah.
picture. Takes you a minute to notice it. Yeah, he's 6'7", I think you're right.
Mm-hmm.
Takes you a minute to notice it because you have to tear your eyes away from that ridiculous haircut. But he's was a little weird and smirky today.
Yeah.
Um,
I couldn't decide if it was a smirk or a smug look, but either way, it was a very
at,
strange face.
yeah. At one point, the judge asked him if this plea deal was something he was doing because it was in his best interest, and he said yes, it was. I
Of
guess at
course.
some point he had mentioned that, yeah, 6'7", right? I know, terrible. Uh, he had mentioned that maybe he was pleading guilty to make it easier on the victims' families. Which, you know what? Fuck you, Rex
Yeah.
Heuermann. What a fucked up, stupid ass thing to say. Our grandfather, when he pled guilty and went to prison, he said the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Yet
Also
never
bullshit.
offered a single apology. Yeah.
No, 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 not at all.
Yeah.
This was all
But you
about
know
him.
what, Rex? I have this idea for you that also would have made things easier on the victims' families. And that would have been not murder anybody.
Yeah, that really would have been the best plan. So what I want to do right now is run a little slideshow for you and give you some information about each of the victims, because that's what today was really about.
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen the DA's press conference and the other press conferences, you really should. There were some really sweet things said about the victims. I really appreciated the families and how much support there is behind all of these beautiful women.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about the victims in this case. Sandra Castilla, she was the first victim that we know of. Let me get to my correct notes here. Sandra Castilla was killed in 1993. She was 28. She is originally from Trinidad and Tobago. She was living in New York at the time of her death. One of the family members yelled out to the press today to please stop calling their loved ones sex workers. And I agree.
Hell yes.
If it were any other job, do you think it would come up in absolutely every single article and conversation about these
No,
victims? It wouldn't.
not at all.
It wouldn't matter in the least. She was last known to be alive in late November of 1993. Her body was found in wooded brush in North Sea, Long Island, not near Gilgo Beach. She had been strangled and beaten. When she was linked to Heuermann, this was important for investigators because it kind of showed that he had a pattern prior to the bodies that were wrapped in burlap and found on Gilgo Beach. DNA and forensic review decades later linked her to Heuermann. And it does look like, he was starting to experiment with later coastal dumping clusters. Now, he was 30 when he killed her. You
Wow.
cannot tell me that Sandra Castilla is actually his first victim.
Yeah, that's tough to believe.
Not at 30. He'd done some other things before that, I have no
Yeah.
doubt. Next, we have Karen Vergata, which was just barely thrown in now. Karen Vergata died in 1996. She was 34. She lived in the Manhattan area. She disappeared in February of 1996. She was known as the Fire Island Jane Doe for a long time because a partial remains were found on Fire Island. Other of her remains, other parts of her body were found years later on Gilgo Beach. It was actually genetic genealogy that just very recently restored her identity.
Wow.
And Heuermann did he did allocute to her murder today.
Yeah. Wow.
Then we have Valerie Mack. Valerie Mack was 24. She died in 2000. She was from the Philadelphia area. In her work, she also used the name Melissa Taylor, if that sounds familiar. You might have heard of that name before too. Her family looked for her for years without answers.
Wow.
Her last contact was in the year 2000. Her remains were also split up, like Karen Vergata,
Mm-hmm.
between Manorville and the Gilgo region.
Wow.
And for years, she was Jane Doe number 6. It was genetic genealogy also that confirmed her identity. Her case kind of confirms also, now with Karen Vergata as well,
Mm-hmm.
that idea of separating the remains and disposing of them in different places.
Mm-hmm.
Next, we have Jessica Taylor. Jessica Taylor died in 2003. She was 20. She was from Manhattan. She was a young mother.
Mm-hmm.
She had little kids.
Yeah.
Her partial remains were found in Manorville, and then additional remains of Jessica were found at Gilgo. Her tattoos became really critical in early identification of her body. Also, this was another indicator that he was using multiple dump zones, as we
Mm-hmm.
can see now.
Yeah.
It was that happened several times. Then we have Maureen Brainerd Barnes. Maureen died in 2007. She was 25. She was from Connecticut, and she was the mother of 2 children.
Oh.
She was last seen on July 9th of 2007. She told family that she expected to be gone not very long and would be back soon.
Mm-hmm. And
Her
then just
disappearance
vanished.
remained unsolved until the Gilgo Beach discoveries. And so she was one of the Gilgo 4 who was wrapped in burlap. Prosecutors say that burner phone evidence later tied Heuermann to be her final contact.
Wow.
Yeah. Then there's Melissa Barthélemy. Melissa died in 2009. She was 24. She was from the Bronx, New York. She disappeared in July of 2009. Her sister, this is the one, this was horrible. Her sister later received taunting calls from Melissa's phone.
Oh.
Yeah, I remember learning about
Yeah.
this in one of the Lisk documentaries years
Mm-hmm.
ago. He called her family from her phone to hassle them.
Yeah.
He did admit in court to strangling her.
Mm-hmm.
There was really strong digital evidence in her case connecting Heuermann to her. Then we have Megan Waterman. Megan Waterman died in 2010. She was 22. She was from Maine. She was the mother of 1 daughter. She was staying at a hotel called the Hapaga Hotel. Gosh, I don't know. She went missing in June of 2010. Security footage in her case was really important because it created a timeline. She was also one of the Gilgo 4 found wrapped in burlap near another
Mm-hmm.
victim. And last we have Amberlynn Costello. Amberlynn Costello also died in 2010, September of 2010. She was 27. She was from West Babylon, Long Island, and lived in that area. She was known by family and friends to be a really social person. She was last seen in September of 2010. Witnesses later described her leaving with a large man driving a Chevy Avalanche. And that
Oh.
vehicle was a breakthrough because
Yep.
Heuermann owned a Chevy Avalanche and they actually got hold of it.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
And her case was quite strong because of the witness link. I
Yeah.
mean, if you saw her leave with Heuermann, there's really no question. I mean, the dude is a fucking giant.
Yeah.
So those are the 8 victims that got justice today.
Yeah.
They're not the only victims, but they are.
No.
I'm going to call them the first 8.
Yep.
Yes, they're all very small women
Mhm.
also.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the vehicle they found in South Carolina.
Right. Yep.
So that's what we know with Rex Heuermann, and there's more to come. We're going to
Well,
keep
and
following
sentencing in
this very closely.
June, right?
Sentencing on June 17th.
Okay.
And yeah, and then we'll see what's happening with this other indictment, and then we'll see what really happens when all of the databases get his DNA.
Yeah.
What else might be happening? All right. Well, an interesting little update related to Kelsey Fitzsimmons. Guys, the fallout is beginning. Police unions in North Andover, Massachusetts, are calling for the removal of Police Chief Charles Gray, who is the North Andover police chief, citing the Kelsey Fitzsimmons case as one reason. Here's what they say. We can no longer remain silent while operating under a toxic culture of vindictiveness and professional stagnation. This vote is not about wages, benefits, or other traditional labor issues. It is the unavoidable consequence of years of failed leadership, no leadership, and outright inaction. Sadly, the current turmoil faced by our officers was both foreseeable and avoidable.
Wow.
They referenced Fitzsimmons' shooting as one example of a pattern of leadership failures. They specifically noted the absence of body-worn cameras, which we know were not used during the Fitzsimmons case. And the judge did note that in his verdict, that this would have never come to this had there been body cam. The unions are also saying we have long been aware for the need to satisfy the current societal need for video evidence. For years, our union members advocated for industry standard body-worn cameras to ensure both transparency and officer protection. These efforts were not theoretical. They were researched, presented, and were supported by the union as a necessary step toward transparency, officer protection, and evidentiary integrity. Those efforts were not acted upon, a failure that played a primary part in the recent case. Yeah. So the fallout is happening, friends. I think we're going to see even more fallout. We'll see.
Heads are going to keep rolling. Yep.
Yeah. At this point, Noonan is still employed there as well, which is interesting. Of course, we already talked about earlier, I think this week, that Kelsey Fitzsimmons' defense team is suing.
Yep.
The Andover Police Department.
Yeah.
Which, good.
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. So we'll keep watching, but I think that what happened to Kelsey and the outcome of her trial is going to have big impact on what happens with the police in North Andover, Massachusetts.
Absolutely. You mistreated her because you either had a grudge against her, which some of that seems pretty potent, but also because she was accused of shooting at a cop. I guess those were
The
your
treatment that
reasonings
she
to,
received in jail is absolutely
treat
horrific.
her so horrifically in jail, for the police chief to just absolutely refuse to protect her, all of the things that happened to her, and then she's exonerated. So now what?
Yeah. So now
Not that she deserved it anyway. I mean, I do believe in prisoners' rights, but I mean,
yeah,
some people need to lose their jobs. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, and there is a hearing next month in regards to custody of her child. So hopefully she's going to be getting her time back with her baby.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, sorry, another jump scare. Shanna Gardener-Fernandez. Not really a jump scare. I don't know.
She's not terrible, but
she's
will
pretty
be.
terrible.
Wait till we go to trial. You guys will learn how terrible she is.
So I wanted to just update where we're at with her because there is a hearing for her tomorrow. It is It's 7 a.m. Mountain, 9 a.m. Eastern, and it does appear it will be live streamed. I know I've said that a
Good.
few times lately, and it turned out to not fucking be true. But it does appear that Court TV
Most of her
has
stuff
been
has
live
been
streaming
streamed.
their stuff.
Yeah.
So I do think we'll be able to watch it over on the Trials channel. So some things that are going on with her right now. It's a pretrial procedural hearing, but one of the things they have going on is that they are separating her trial from her husband's trial.
Mhm.
Um, and they're going to be talking about a little bit more about how that's going to work. To move the separate the trials.
Mhm.
Her defense team really wants it to be a very clean and very separate process. Prosecutors want her husband Mario to be tried first. So we'll see what happens there. You know, there's a lot going on here because this is in the murder of Jared Brightigan, her ex-husband.
Mhm.
The man who actually did the killing
Yeah.
has recanted now and is refusing to testify against Shanna and Mario. So that's
Mhm.
changing the way these cases are going to work.
But
Um,
he's already incarcerated, right?
oh
He's
yeah,
already
he's already
he
been
didn't he
convicted.
yeah, he pled guilty, didn't he?
I think he did, but now
Yeah.
he's saying he's recanting his admission, which is pretty wild.
Oh, good lord.
Just considering this whole situation, this is very
Mhm.
frustrating because um, this is just taking forever, and this is why
Yeah.
it's taking forever.
Well, this is just yet another Florida contract killing.
Yeah, it is. It's a Florida contract killing. Even though Tenon, who is the guy, Henry Tenon, who was the shooter, he withdrew his guilty plea and
Oh.
is no longer cooperating under the plea structure. So he is not going to be testifying against um, Shanna and Mario.
Oh, good
But
god.
they still have all kinds of evidence against
Oh,
them,
yeah.
financial records, texts, witness
Mhm.
statements, and communications that were tied to the planning,
Mhm.
to the planning of the funeral potatoes, which was Shanna's code word for the murder of her ex-husband, which, my God, if
Mhm.
that is the most Mormon thing I've ever heard in my entire life, and that's why I kind of can't wait for this trial.
Mhm.
Because they're going to say funeral potatoes about 50 times in this trial, and
Mhm.
it's going to be hilarious, frankly.
Good lord.
Um,
Yeah.
they were sort of headed for an August 2026 trial window, but now they're separating the cases.
Mhm.
So we don't know. We really don't know if that's even going to be a possibility. But we do know that initially there was a hearing for April 10th. Good thing I checked today because it's been moved to April 9th. That is tomorrow. So I will be live at 7 a.m. Mountain, uh, 9 a.m. Eastern, 6 a.m. Pacific, sorry, over on the Trials channel so that we can see what is going on here.
Okay.
Yes, there is a Jennifer Gledhill hearing on Friday. I don't know if it's going to be streamed. I'm still working on that, but I'll let you know. But that is also coming this week.
Yeah.
So things are kind of heating up. But we're going to
Yes.
learn tomorrow, I think, in this hearing a little bit more about how they're separating these trials and maybe when they're going to be. I hope so. And in on tomorrow's show, I will update you on Jennifer Gledhill, where that's at, if that will be a streamed hearing. I honestly don't know yet,
Yeah.
but I will know. I will know tomorrow better what's happening with that because that's another one that we're watching very closely.
Yeah.
There might also be a Caleb Flynn hearing on Friday, but as we know, we don't get to watch those right now. So I'll
Yeah.
probably just do an update on that after the fact when I know what happened in it. Well, I have some breaking news. Gerhardt Konig in the Hawaii trial has been convicted of attempted manslaughter.
Oh, they
of
went with
his
manslaughter,
wife.
huh?
They went with
Okay.
manslaughter. I was a little worried that that was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but hey, I'm glad he got something because that guy. Speaking of dick bags, oh my
Yeah.
God! Any of you watch that trial? We haven't really been covering it, other than we've been discussing it over in Discord. No, not murder, attempted manslaughter, not murder, and due to extreme emotional distress. The jury had like 6 options for what they could
Yeah.
choose from.
Mm-hmm.
So he's the guy who tried to throw his wife off a cliff in Hawaii, and
Right.
then when he couldn't make that happen, bashed her over the head with a lava rock. And there were actual witnesses.
Mm-hmm.
She's screaming, they come running up, and he's looming over her with the lava rock, and she's just blood, covered in blood.
Yeah.
Um,
Awful.
so anyway, that jury has been out for a couple days now, and everybody's been like, what is taking them so long?
Yeah.
Right? I don't know. He's such a arrogant little shithead.
Oh, yeah. He's terrible.
Right? They
Well,
gave them
glad there's a
6
conviction.
options.
Yeah, that's a lot of options.
It is a lot of options. I think maybe it was maybe too many. And yeah, not attempted murder, attempted manslaughter
Yep.
due to extreme emotional distress. This
Don't
is Konig,
don't like that.
Gerhardt Konig. And well,
I don't
he's
care
going to
how
go away,
emotionally
but
distressed you are if you try to kill somebody.
yeah,
But
bashing
obviously,
somebody over the head with a lava rock is, I think, attempted murder. She also fully believed that he had some kind of a syringe and a vial with him of something. He is an anesthesiologist.
hmm, Jesus. Yep.
No, she did not
No,
die.
she lived. Yeah.
She lived. She testified against him. His
Hmm.
own son testified against him.
Yeah.
This is not a popular guy, as you can
No.
imagine. So there will be a sentencing, and we'll talk more about that later. But yeah, that jury just barely came back.
Wow. Well, you can't say the jury didn't do their due diligence.
Yeah, they really did do their due diligence, but they were given a lot of options. And
Yeah.
you know, it, he said that she hit him and that he was defending himself. Except that when the witnesses ran up, hearing her scream and cry, she's on the ground,
Right.
bleeding profusely. Guess
Getting
who's
beat with a
not
rock.
bleeding?
Yeah.
This guy. He ran for a while and ran from the cops and disposed of some evidence. So yeah, he was so stressed because she had had an emotional affair with a coworker, which that obviously had like a huge impact on his tiny little ego. A huge impact. This was a trip he took her on for her birthday,
Yeah.
by the way. Tried to kill her for her birthday.
Yep.
So he's a piece of shit. Katie, talk to us about Aaron Spencer.
Yeah. Let's wrap it up with Aaron. So, Aaron Spencer, who is the Republican candidate for sheriff in
Yeah,
Arkansas, in Lonoke County,
this
uh,
is so wild.
he is facing second-degree murder charges. Remember, this is the dad who ran down the kidnapper and abuser of his 14-year-old daughter and rescued her from him in the middle of the night after she had been kidnapped from their home. And in the process of rescuing his daughter, he shot and killed that man. And he has been charged with second-degree murder. We've talked about this case quite a bit, so you probably know. But this is the case that was gagged so securely in the beginning that the victim couldn't even get therapy because you couldn't talk about it at
Yes.
all.
Yeah.
His attorneys have been back to the Supreme Court in Arkansas 2 times. First of all, to get that ridiculous gag order lifted, which they did, and the second time to get the judge removed because she was ridiculous. First of all, the judge was the same person who had given bond to the perp in the first place. He was charged with 45 counts of child abuse and sex crimes against a child, and she gave him bond. And he continued to reach out to, contact, and groom these people's daughter and then kidnapped her. So somehow, Aaron ends up in front of the same judge who immediately seals the whole case. When the Supreme Court said the first time that they were lifting the gag order, they recommended that she recuse herself, and she did not do so. So back in January, they ended up back in front of the Supreme Court, basically because she was such a dick and so difficult uh, in this case that they did go ahead and remove her. So that reset everything because that case was very near going to trial. So now they're saying that it's going to start on June 22nd, the trial, and could span through July 3rd. So it's not going to be a very long one. I mean, it's one incident, so
Mm-hmm.
so
Yep,
that's
it's
where it's
on my
at.
schedule for June 22nd.
Yep. So the new judge is Judge Wilson. He's a special judge that's just coming out of retirement just for this event and has been known to be really, really hard on sex offenders and people who abuse children. So, really hoping that he is a friend for Aaron Spencer in every way he can be, because I cannot for the life of me figure out how this is going to trial. I just can't in any way.
Me either.
But in the
But
meantime, Aaron
honestly,
said, well, I'm going to run for sheriff because obviously our police force here is pretty screwed up. And he
yeah,
won the Republican nomination by a landslide in their
he
county.
did.
Who's going to
This is
convict this
insane.
guy?
So this guy's going to be exonerated and then he's going to become the sheriff. Is that really how this is going to play out? I mean, it is
Could it?
2026. Literally anything could
Anything.
happen at
And
this
he
point.
is retired military. It's not that he has no experience. He is a military guy. I don't think he was military police, but at any rate, but now we know there is a trial finally set. They're moving forward with the new judge, so we're on target.
That is wild.
Yeah.
Let me pop back over to Gerhardt and Konig really quick because I wanted to tell you what his potential sentence is. So, attempted manslaughter is a Class A felony, which also means guess who's not going to be able to practice as a doctor anymore? This guy.
Good.
Um, it is a sentence up to 20 years in prison. They'll pay. There will be a lot of things brought in to determine that he'll get somewhere between 10 and 20, likely. So he is going to go to prison for what he did to Ariel. Some of the things that the judge can take into account are the injuries that Ariel had, which were significant. The fact that he used a weapon, the rock. He was not released after the verdict. He did remain in custody. And so, as far as I know, we don't have a date on sentencing on him yet, but he's going to prison. So I'm happy for
Good.
that. And watching parts of this trial, I've been horrified by this human being.
Mm-hmm.